Title: The Shadowed Follower. I live in a small, secluded cabin, tucked away in a quiet town deep within the heart of a vast forest. My life revolves around my solitary existence as an artist, creating intricate and unsettling paintings that delve into the darkest corners of the human soul. I've grown accustomed to the eerie beauty of the woods surrounding my home, finding inspiration in the shadows that dance between the trees. One cold, moonlit night, my peaceful existence was shattered by the arrival of an unsettling email from an anonymous sender. The message was simple but sent shivers down my spine. "I see your art. I see you." At first, I brushed it off as a cruel prank, but the messages didn't stop. They grew increasingly disturbing, revealing personal details about my life, as if the sender were an unseen witness to my every move. A creeping paranoia began to take hold of me, and I started to doubt the safety of my isolated haven. Days turned into weeks, and the messages became more sinister and invasive. I could feel an invisible presence lurking around my cabin, observing me from the impenetrable darkness of the forest. Every rustling leaf or snapping twig outside became a source of fear and dread. One evening, as I painted late into the night, a faint whisper floated in through my window. The voice was barely audible, whispering my name. My heart raced as I realized that I was alone in the cabin, and my nearest neighbor was miles away. My paranoia deepened, and I decided to take action. I set up motion-activated cameras throughout my cabin, hoping to capture a glimpse of my tormentor. The footage revealed fleeting glimpses of a cloaked figure, always lurking at the edge of the frame, their face concealed by shadows. As the weeks passed, my art began to reflect the fear that had enveloped me. Each painting seemed to depict the relentless pursuit of my stalker, transforming my once eerie and beautiful artwork into a mirror of my own descent into madness. One fateful night, as I worked feverishly on a new painting, the whisper returned, this time closer. The cloaked figure had entered my cabin and now stood directly behind me, casting a chilling presence across the room. I turned, trembling, to confront my tormentor. The figure's face was hidden behind a dark, featureless mask, its eyes hollow and empty. In a raspy voice it said, "I am your muse. I am your masterpiece." In a frenzy of terror, I attempted to flee, but the stalker's grip was unyielding. We moved as if in perfect synchrony, as if we were part of a macabre dance. I had become the central figure in my own terrifying painting. As the days turned into weeks, the townsfolk noticed the change in my artwork. My final piece depicted my own madness and the chilling bond I had forged with the shadowed figure. The stalker vanished without a trace, leaving my cabin empty, a haunting testament to the artist who had disappeared into her own unsettling creation. To this day, the small town whispers tales of the masked stalker and the artist who dared to paint the darkness that had consumed her own soul.
It was an ordinary evening when I decided to take a leisurely drive through the winding, moonlit roads of the dense forest that surrounded my quiet town. As I meandered along the narrow, tree-lined path, I couldn't help but appreciate the serene beauty of the wilderness. But as I continued, a creeping feeling of unease began to wash over me. I noticed a car following at a distance, its headlights flickering in and out like a mischievous shadow in the dark. I brushed it off as a coincidence and accelerated, hoping to shake off the persistent pursuer. However, no matter how fast I drove or how many unexpected turns I took, the ominous vehicle remained in my rearview mirror, steadily maintaining a calculated distance. My anxiety escalated, and I found myself trying to rationalize the situation, telling myself it was a mere coincidence. As I continued down the labyrinthine roads, I couldn't help but wonder if I was being paranoid. The car's presence had transformed the peaceful woods into a haunting, claustrophobic maze, and I felt trapped. Desperate to escape, I pushed my car to its limits, hoping to outrun the relentless stalker. The winding roads became a blur, but the shadowy vehicle remained in my rearview mirror, unrelenting in its pursuit. My cell phone provided no salvation. There was no signal deep within the forest. I felt isolated and vulnerable, with no one to turn to for help. Panic gripped me, and I made a snap decision to veer off the road and into the underbrush, my heart pounding with fear. The decision to leave the road only seemed to intensify the chase. The car behind me followed suit, crashing through the trees and brush, determined to maintain its pursuit. My breaths came in frantic gasps as I navigated through the dense woods, branches scratching at the windows, and fear enveloping me like a shroud. Finally, I stumbled upon a clearing, a small reprieve from the dense forest, but the car remained a menacing presence at the edge of the tree line. I was trapped, my options dwindling with every passing moment. The night was silent, save for the eerie hum of the pursuing vehicle. I felt like a hunted animal, cornered and without escape. In that moment, my mind raced, searching for a solution. I had to make a stand or risk being at the mercy of this relentless stalker. Summoning every ounce of courage, I reversed my car and drove directly toward the shadowy pursuer. The car's headlights revealed a driver in a mask, a chilling, featureless face that sent shivers down my spine. With a deafening crash, our vehicles collided, and the world went dark. When I awoke, I was alone in the forest, the stalker's car nowhere in sight. My own vehicle was damaged, but I was unharmed. With trembling hands, I managed to start the engine and cautiously make my way out of the woods, my heart still pounding. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that the stalker is out there, somewhere, waiting for another unsuspecting victim to enter the silent, moonlit forest roads. The eerie memories of that night continue to haunt me, a reminder that darkness can hide in the most unexpected places, even amidst the serene beauty of nature. I lived alone in a cozy little house on the outskirts of a peaceful neighborhood. My favorite spot was the living room, with a large window that looked out onto a serene, moonlit garden. It was a tranquil haven, or so I thought. One chilly evening, as I settled into my favorite armchair to read, I noticed a shadow moving outside the window. I dismissed it as a trick of the light or perhaps a wandering animal. But as the nights passed, I couldn't ignore the persistent feeling of being watched. Each night, the shadowy figure appeared just beyond the glass, lurking in the garden, always obscured by the darkness. I couldn't make out any features, just the unsettling presence of someone, or something, staring at me. I became increasingly paranoid, drawing the curtains tightly each evening. But when I dared to peek outside, I would see the silhouette once again, watching me with silent, unrelenting eyes. It seemed to be steadying me, waiting for the moment when my guard was down. I tried to rationalize it as a neighbor or perhaps a passerby, but the feeling of dread wouldn't subside. Friends and family brushed off my concerns as mere imagination, but I couldn't shake the sensation that I was being targeted by an unknown, sinister presence. As the days turned into weeks, I couldn't escape the feeling of being trapped in my own home. I installed security cameras, hoping to capture evidence of the lurking stalker. Yet, every time I reviewed the footage, the shadowy figure remained elusive, never revealing itself fully. My sanity began to unravel as I spent sleepless nights, constantly checking the curtains and fearing the moment when I would catch a glimpse of the face behind the glass. The sense of being hunted within my own sanctuary was suffocating. One evening, as I stood before the window, my heart pounding with fear, a hand pressed against the glass from the outside. I could see the outline of a pale, twisted face with hollow, emotionless eyes. My scream filled the room as I stumbled backward. I called the police, and they arrived swiftly, but the stalker had vanished into the night. They assured me they would increase patrols in the area and urged me to stay vigilant. Even with their presence, I never truly felt safe. The window had become a portal to a waking nightmare, and the watcher's face haunted my every thought. I contemplated moving, but the fear followed me, a shadowy specter that refused to release its grip. To this day, The memory of the watcher in the window continues to haunt me, a chilling reminder that the most ordinary places can conceal the darkest of secrets, and the feeling of being watched can be far more terrifying than any physical threat.